Okay, so now we're going to do a discussion. So, what do you think that new interpreters struggle with, Ellie?
I think the hardest part is knowing that you're good enough.
Yeah,
I think everybody that I've talked to has like some kind of it's one of two camps. You either think you're so good that you
yeah,
don't think there's any possible way you can fail,
yeah,
or you have like zero self-confidence.
yeah.
There's not really an in between. You're like in one of these two camps, at least the people I've talked to.
No, I agree with you. I think that's right because, like, that's how I feel when I ask people. Am I talking too loud?
No,
Okay, I feel like I'm loud with the headphones.
you're fine.
Um, like, I feel like that too because, like, I know when I worked with interpreters who are certified and stuff, I'm like, well, I'm still a student. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting it. They're like, you always feel that way. Like, I'm like, do you feel like good? Do you feel like really good? And they're like, no, you feel like that like the rest of your life. You never feel like you 100% know what you're doing. I'm like, all right, good to know. Like, that's gonna sit with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that sucks. I've only talked to other students about it, so I didn't
Right?
know.
Yeah, it's all like, so I don't know how to feel about this. They're like, yeah, you never do.
Oh, good. Well,
Great.
at least it'll be consistent.
Um, how do you think we can better prepare ourselves, like, for what, like, new interpreters, like, what they may or may not face? And, like, what have you experienced so far? Like, we've gone through internship. Like, I know, like, maybe, like, you didn't get a whole lot of, like, medical experience, but I know, like, when we took a bus ride for one of our assignments, um, a couple of our other classmates were talking about how their interpreters, like, were really like put them off, like didn't really weren't very supportive. And I mean, like, I don't think we should say that as like as new interpreters when we run into more experienced interpreters, we don't want people to like not criticize us because we kind of need that critique.
Hmm.
You always want to improve and you want to be open to that feedback, but they were very harsh to the point where it was almost discouraging.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't had any medical experience
Yeah.
yet. That just hasn't worked out just yet.
Fair enough.
Um, so to answer your first question, to prepare for it, I
Mhm.
think I went to some kind of legal workshop
Mhm.
like last year or oh, like in May, like
Mhm.
up earlier in the year, up
Yeah.
at this part of the timeline.
Yeah.
um, and I really liked that, and I thought it was really good because I got to meet a bunch of interpreters.
Yeah.
I got to experience kind of like what it was like. I mean, it wasn't real. So there
Yeah.
was no chance of hurting anyone. There was no chance of me going to jail. I was allowed to completely fail. There was no grade.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Zero. Like I know they're always like, oh, fail in the classroom so you don't fail out. But then my
Yeah.
grade suffers. So I really felt
Yeah.
like at this workshop, I was able to fail as much as I wanted or
Yeah.
suck as bad as I needed
There was no
in order to
risks.
build. Yeah, there's zero
Yeah.
risks. You
Yeah.
pay your money, you go in, you sit down, you meet people, and then you do your thing.
Yeah.
Um, I also think that prepared me mentally to meet more interpreters out in the field.
Mhm.
Because I met a ton at this event, like because it was for CEUs.
Yeah.
A ton of people there who are interpreters,
Mhm.
and so having that experience and knowing what the culture of
Yeah.
interpreting is like, I think helped me a lot. I remember my first day, I came home and I was like, that wasn't what I expected
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
interpreters. But I'm old, I'm like 27, old. And so I've had a lot more life experience, I think, than the majority
Yeah.
of classmates because they're all
Yeah.
like 23 and below.
Mhm.
And I have moved across the country and I've worked in a lot of jobs and I,
Mhm.
kind of have done my own thing since I was 18. So I have like 9 years
Mhm.
of kind of toughing it out in the real world
Yeah.
to prepare me mentally for dealing with
Yeah.
bad, they're not bad, but you know what I mean? Like harsh mentors.
Yeah, like uncomfortable situations or harsh mentors. Yeah. Which,
Yeah. And I think you should take feedback,
mhm.
obviously,
Yeah.
but you have to sort it.
Yes. I
Because I
think that's a
noticed this.
good point.
I worked at Universal a couple
Mhm.
of years ago. And when I got hired into my position, I worked at one of the top attractions, which
Mhm.
means that everyone who didn't work there we saw like the culture of my attraction, saw
Mhm.
them as like below us. Like we were cooler
Yeah.
than they were. We were harder workers than they are.
Yeah.
We have a tougher job than they do. And because Universal helped stigmatize that, like they would give us extra stuff for working at
Mhm.
my heart attraction.
Yeah.
I think the same is like happening in the interpreting field, because like
Yeah.
new interpreters join this like cool group of
Mhm.
interpreters, and the older interpreters who've worked there are like, well, I know more than you, and
Yeah.
I know more than you will ever know, and I'm cooler than you will ever be.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people who join now who haven't had this prior experience of joining a
Mhm.
cool group and being like the new cool member of this cool group and having to like deal with
Yeah.
that, like that's really hard for people.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced this, when I finally like got to experience interpreter culture, I was just like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, this is
This is
universal.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, all right, so you just have to.
Adjust.
It's not even an adjustment. It's, in my experience, the best way to go about it is to be as nice as possible, to
Yeah.
accept everything they say to you with a smile,
Yeah.
and do what they suggest you do. Even if you think it's bollocks, like even if you don't care,
Yeah.
just do it. Because they're gonna remember that you were like agreeable, and they're
Yeah.
gonna remember that you're nice, and they're gonna want to help you.
That's true. I think that's a really good point because I don't think people think of that because I think a lot of people, we're new, we're young, and whether we like it or not, we're young and we're stupid. We don't know what we're doing. And I think it's easy for people to forget that that's where they were, and we can all say that, like, oh, they should have done this differently, they should have done that differently. Yeah, but, there's the joke. How many interpreters does it take to change the light bulb? One to do it, and then 50 others to tell you how they would have done it differently. But, like, I think you're right. I think take it with a grain of salt. Take it as they're giving it to you, and whether you like it or not, don't get your feelings hurt. Like, try not to get your feelings hurt. Put up a wall if you can, but you're right, nod and agree and be like, yeah, that was really helpful, thank you. Exactly.
And then what I always do, because I joined this job at Universal and I worked there
Mhm,
for like 2 years. And
mhm.
when I first joined, for the first half a year, I hated it. It was awful. I
Yeah,
thought everyone was really mean. I didn't like how they treated me. I didn't like how
yeah,
they talked to me. But every time anyone said something to me, I'd be like, oh, okay.
yeah,
And then I would move on. And so, like, I think getting, like, knowing yourself and knowing that you are a good person no matter what they say, or, like, I mean, if you aren't a good person, then you should know that too. But if you are a good person, you should know
yeah,
that you're a good person. And, like, accept their feedback. Because sometimes there is good stuff, and it's
yeah,
like a really rude sandwich. So you
yeah,
can, like, take the bread off and be like, okay, this meat is good. I want to keep this.
yeah. No, I
Discard
think
all of the packaging.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I did my medical appointment, I was really happy to have this interpreter who seemed very nice, but still like wasn't like, oh, that was so good. She didn't like sugarcoat things. You know what I mean? She was nice and she was helpful, but she wasn't like, "Oh, that was so good." And I'm like, "No, that was not so good." Like, which is what I'm used to. Like, I feel like a lot of the times, like in our class, like people are like, "Oh yeah, that was great." Like, that wasn't great. I made like 100 mistakes. I need you to tell me what it is so I can fix it. I know I made mistakes. I don't know what they are now. I don't remember them. Like, that's all gone in one ear out the other now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I need somebody to be like, okay, this and this and this were good, but this and this and this were wrong, and this is how you can fix it. And
Yeah.
like I think like that's I think you're right though. Take like you're not gonna always get that from people.
No.
Not at all. Like
There's gonna be people who are really nice and sugarcoat it, and there's gonna be people
yeah.
who are really rude but have good advice. And there's gonna be people in the middle who are used to giving feedback to
Mhm.
newbies, and they're used to delivering bad news in a
Mhm.
positive way. And you're always gonna have that, and it's always gonna be kind of a
Yeah.
stick your hand in the barrel with your eyes closed and pull out whatever you get today kind of thing.
Mhm. And I
So
think I think that applies to like also like something else that we face that I hadn't really considered until now we're discussing this is like deaf clients. They're
Mhm.
gonna rip into you.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot of us like don't know, like I don't know how I'm gonna take that when I get in the field. Like I know I'm gonna have to, I will, but I guarantee you the first time it happens, I'm gonna leave that office and I'm gonna cry.
I think you're allowed to cry. I think you just should
Yeah,
do it like off screen.
yeah. Hold it
Because
in.
right, go to your car and have a
Yep,
good.
yep.
Because I know, I mean, again, been around a lot longer than
Yeah,
one on the
exactly.
program.
Yeah.
So, but I've worked in customer service, and not customer service, but like customer service where people expect a certain level. And if
Retail.
you no, I
Oh.
worked at Disney World
Oh, true.
and I worked in
Okay.
Magic
Okay,
Kingdom.
yeah. I understand better now.
And everyone who goes to Magic Kingdom has like, this is what I expect. And if I
Hmm.
have to be like, hey, no, as nicely as I can deliver that, it's
Yeah.
still a no. People are
Yeah.
still really angry, and I've had people get in my face. I've had
Yeah.
to shove my coworkers to the floor. I've had people spit on us.
Oh.
I've I've had all. So like having that experience
Yeah, so
and
for
knowing
you it's like, okay, you're gonna yell at me, that's fine. Like, that's the
yeah,
worst you're gonna do.
I've had a guy like try to like he stepped up real close to me like he was gonna fight me, and then he got his face real close to mine, and it was the stupidest rule in the world. He couldn't ride the ride with his chapstick, and I agree that's a stupid rule.
Hmm.
That is the rule I was told to do. So I was
Yeah,
like,
but
your
it's
chapstick
I'm
can't
just
come
doing
on.
my
Like, you have to
job.
put it in a locker. Like it can't
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah.
And he looked me dead in my eyes, like real close, and he was like, and like threw it into the bushes. And I was like, great, come on in. So like I think having that experience of
Yeah.
people being like really mean, like I don't
Yeah.
think, and I might be wrong, but I don't think there's a lot someone can do to me at this point to make me
No, I think you're right.
break down.
Yeah. And I think like that's like where I have to keep my mindset is like, okay, like the worst this person's gonna do is yell at me, and the thing I have to do is take that because this isn't my language. This is theirs. And what I did might not have been enough for them. And I think that's like where it goes back to your like you said, there are interpreters who think like they're the best there is, and there are people and there are students who are like that too. Now I know we know a few, I'm sure, like everybody does, where they think that they're just very big headed and they think like, oh, I'm the best there is, I can match every single language for this deaf person that they need, I can meet all their requirements. But in reality that's not what's going to happen. You're going to run into a client. You're going to have a bad day, and it's going to affect your skills.
Yeah,
And
I know C is really hard for me because
oh
we're
yeah.
like straight ASL.
Mhm.
And so like the first time I met a deaf person who used C, I was
Mhm.
like, I would not this wouldn't work if this was a situation where I needed to be able to communicate with them.
Yes.
So I didn't really know what to do. Like we were, I think it was like a deaf event, and I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't know what you're saying, and you don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So how? Well, okay, they understood me.
Yeah. But like, how do I like make this
I
work?
could
So it's like,
understand that.
yeah.
I wasn't like if it had been a situation where it was like important, like a hospital,
Yeah.
I would not have been able to voice for them at that time.
Yeah.
So I think too is just keeping in mind that like your skill set might not be the perfect match for
Mhm.
everybody, and that's okay. You
Yeah.
should branch out and you should do it. But it's okay to admit to yourself that you need to like learn more, I
Yeah.
think is what I'm trying to say.
No,
Not
I
that it's
agree
okay
with
that you
you.
can't. Like you should be able to match with most people when you become an actual
But
interpreter.
be aware of like
Yeah,
where
but
your
you also should.
limitations are and how to fix them.
Yeah, exactly. You should know. Like I'm very honest with myself. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
you can't do classifiers very well. So
Yeah.
let's go to a classifier like
Yeah.
workshop. I think
Yeah.
I missed the last one, but like I practice on my own. I'm like, okay, here, you're not good with classifiers. Describe the room using classifiers, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think just admitting it and allowing yourself to not be perfect is really hard for a lot of
Yeah.
people, especially now. I think with
Yeah.
social media.
I agree. And I think like even sometimes in the program or even in any ITP program, wherever you are, based on who you work with, I think it's really ingrained within your head that like you have to be like this and this and this, or at least in my experience, it's kind of been that way with my past ITP program I was at. I felt like it was very oppressive and very like, if you're not getting this, you're never going to be good enough. Deaf people will rip into you. They're not going to like want you as their interpreter. Like you're never going to be as good as you need to be. And like I think it's sad, but it's comforting knowing that even people who have been doing this for 20 years or whatever, or interpreters I worked with for Hunchback when I interpreted that show, knowing that like you're gonna feel that way, like it happens, like okay, so this is normal, which shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't feel normal to feel that way, but knowing, I think exactly what you said, knowing, allowing yourself not to be perfect, knowing like okay, you're never gonna be exactly where you need to be. It's going to happen. But know that, take that into consideration and figure out how you can fix it to be the best you can be for your deaf client, for your clients who you're working with, for the who it matters.
Yep.
So,
It's hard, I think, for a lot of
yeah,
people.
I think so too. Well, we're at 15 minutes. Thanks for the discussion.
Yeah, no worries. I hope this was helpful.
I
And
think
I
it
think
was.
also, to one side note, opinions change over time.
Yes.
So that's okay and that should be allowed.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
I think a lot of people struggle with that, like growing as a
Yeah.
people, I guess,
Yeah.
as a person. Like it's
Yeah.
hard. So anyway, that's just my opinion now in
Yeah.
2018. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah, no worries.